chess.com just released 5 new chess AI bots, and today I'm going to tell you exactly how to beat them. Now, I will not tell you how to beat ChatGPT because, guys, this bot is 249 rated and you do not need my help to beat it. You can just go onto chess.com and beat it yourself. But I will tell you how to beat Chippy, a 700 rated bot who is inspired by Clippy from Microsoft, PAL 9000, who's inspired by HAL 9000 from Space Odyssey, and this bot is rated 1200, and Skyweb, inspired by the Terminator, rated 1600. Now, Agent Chess is a little bit too strong for me right now. He's 2700, but I'll make a separate video where I'm playing him and tell you how that goes, but I cannot tell you how to beat that one yet. So, let's go ahead and start with Chippy. Would you like to play a game of chess? Chippy doesn't care. Chippy was originally programmed to help you, but has gone rogue and now only wants one thing: to make you rage quit. Now, I actually have not played against these bots prior to this video, but I mean, I'm sure it'll go well. But I'm excited to see what they say. So I'll be explaining every single move that I'm making, and hopefully this will be instructive for you and you can beat these bots after this video. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the move d4, and he's saying, "Hi, I'm Chippy, your chess assistant. Would you like some help today?" No. Okay, let's go d4. It looks like you're wondering why a paperclip is playing chess. Would you like me to explain to you why? Oh, is it a yes or no question after everything? Oh, okay. Anyways, guys, d4, he's going d5. We're going to go c4. I'm going for a queen's gambit, my favorite opening. And Chippy is actually accepting it. He's actually saying, "I'm going to take your c4 pawn." Now, capturing on c4 is actually started to become a lot more popular in Super GM chess lately. That is that white gives a pawn, but, you know, I get a little bit more of center. So I'm going to go e3, and I'm immediately going to challenge the c4 pawn. Now, e5 is the main move. What's going on here? Chippy knows some theory. Chippy really knows some theory. So I'll go ahead and capture on c4 immediately. Takes and takes. All right, this is all fine. This is an isolated pawn that I have right now. But isolated pawns, even though they can become weak, the good thing about having them in the opening and middle game is that it means that you have a lot more diagonals and stuff opened up, which is really good when you're playing when you're trying to get your pieces out. So I'm gonna go knight f3. I'm just developing, and after bishop e7, I'm castling, and now the paperclip is a little bit quiet. So we're gonna go knight c3. I'm just gonna develop everything, and then I'm gonna show you how to play with this pawn. Let's go ahead and develop this bishop. After we've developed this, then we are done with all the development and we're doing fantastic. So where do I want to go? I want to go to f4, but the issue is that then the bishop is going to get kicked out by knight h5, and I don't like that. So maybe actually what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go h3 so that after bishop f4, the bishop can retreat to h2. Okay, now my bishop is getting kicked away, but I don't mind. I'm going to place this bishop on this diagonal because this diagonal is the greatest diagonal ever for the bishop, as it's pointing towards h7, and this move is also stopping black from going bishop g4 and pinning my knight. Now, I have to say that Chippy's playing very well for being 700 so far. I feel like this is a good game, so we're going to go bishop f4. I'm just pointing towards c7, and I jinxed it. Okay, Chippy just decided to bring his bishop to e6, but then said, "Oh no, I want to go back with the bishop." But this is typically a pretty bad idea because the moment you decide to move out a piece, if you just move it again, you just wasted a turn. Like, there was no point in this bishop ever going to e6. So now I'm just going to point towards c7. We can see that my bishop is pointing towards this pawn, and now my rook is going to point towards this as well. Okay. So my bishop is under attack, and this is why I'm so happy we created this little space for the bishop to go back to. But the first thing I need to do is that because my rook is looking towards this pawn and my bishop is looking towards this pawn, I have two pieces that are looking towards the same pawn right now. I need to see if there's any tactics. This is the moment to calculate. So, like always, guys, I always recommend this: checks, captures, and attacks. In moments where there's a lot of things that are hanging and you've developed all your pieces, you want to calculate this. So, checks. Do we have any good checks? Okay, this is a check, but this is not a good check as I just lose a piece. So, any captures? We have this capture. Let's go ahead and calculate it. So, takes and takes. And now I can do a discovered move with my knight and then try to capture the queen. But where could I go with the knight? I could go over here, but the queen retreats. I could go over here, but the queen retreats. Okay, I don't think I have any tactics, so I'm just going to go back with my bishop to h2, and then I'm going to prepare this move. Am I seeing the paperclip trying to sacrifice the bishop on h3? I'm seeing a little bit of a battery. You know, every time the queen and the bishop both together join the same diagonal or looking towards one pawn that's in front of your king, you do want to be a little bit careful. But I'm not scared, I think. I think is the key word. I'm not scared. So, actually, you know what? I think it's time for us to go ahead and attack this knight. I don't like the knight over there. I think that the knight is slightly bit annoying, but the issue is that if I go knight over here, then the knight will go back, and actually then I'll just take this, which I think would be pretty good. So I'm going to bring my knight up to e5. I want to get rid of this knight and the bishop. Okay, this paperclip is not blundering anything. This paperclip is playing pretty well. So what else can I do? The knight is going back. I will capture the bishop because I don't like the bishop there looking towards this. And now, everybody, it is time to maybe go knight b5 because I really want to capture this pawn. Can I do it? Can I capture it in a good way? I really want to do it, but I don't think I can yet. You know what? I'm going to go rook e1, and I'm going to develop another piece at the same time as I have the threat of taking, and then bam, and then taking this. This rook over here is pointing towards this bishop on e7, and now I can prepare my tactic. Now, Chippy decided to go for g5, which is a terrible move because this pawn right here is just, this pawn is just moving and leaving the king all alone, and the king needs his pawns to be able to stay safe. You never want to move your king side pawn. So this is a bad move. The idea is just to go for the attack, but Chippy's forgetting about his own king side. And now, everybody, I think I'm going to go for my tactic. I think my tactic works. I think my tactic works. And guys, I'm calculating right now, and every time you sacrifice something, you really need to calculate it through. But look at this. Bishop takes pawn. The queen takes back. These are all forced moves because otherwise you gain material. And then we go knight d5, and it's a discovery on the queen, and this bishop is threatened by both the knight and the rook. So I'm going to go for this move. Will we trick Chippy? And now we go knight d5, everybody. I think this is great. Now the queen moves, and I will capture on e7 with the check. It looks like you're trying to checkmate. Do you need me to help you with that? Wait, what? He actually wants to help us with checkmating? That is actually so funny. Okay, I will not checkmate him, but now, everybody, we can say the king went to g7. And before we go on and try to go on with our attack, we think about the same thing, okay? We don't anticipate and get too excited wanting to get our queen somewhere up here. No. We look at checks, captures, and attacks, and boom. We can see this immediate check, knight f5, which is a fork on the king and the queen. So now we can just take the queen, and we've gained a full queen. It looks like you're too scared to leave my queen on the board. Would you like me to take it easy on you? I actually love this. This is actually so funny. So, you know what, guys? When we're trying to attack a king, we need to bring as many pieces as possible. Let's bring in a rook to the attack. I'm going to try to take this pawn. And now we take it. The pawn is hanging. King goes here. And actually, he did end up helping us with the checkmate because now knight f7 is a checkmate. It looks like you defeated a paperclip. Would you like me to make congratulatory remarks? Yes, I would, Chippy. I want you to congratulate me. Okay, everybody. So we beat Chippy. I think that the game was pretty good. We're going to go now for the next bot. So we're going to play against Pal 9000. And he's saying, I am the PAL 9000. You may call me Pal, chess.com user. Okay, thank you so much, Chess AI, for allowing me that. You may call me Anna. Let's go d4. I've still got the greatest enthusiasm and confidence in the mission, chess.com user, and I want to help you. Okay. Let's go c4. I am just going to see what he plays. e6. Okay. I mean, this bot is rated 1200. Is he going to play an IMSO? Yes, he is. Pal is playing an IMSO. NIMSO is a great opening, and yeah, I mean, the main idea of the NIMSO is just that you're getting your minor pieces out very quickly. Black gets a lot of really dynamic play and gets a lot of piece activity, But black gives up on this center because now I will probably in most times get a better center than black, but then black will counter challenge it a little bit later on. Fantastic opening. So I'm going to go queen c2, which is my favorite line against the Nimso, which has the idea of going e4. Now look at this. Now I have this fantastic center. Once again, guys, you always want to have a good center when you're playing chess. You want to develop your pieces. You want to castle, and then you want to start the middle game and start coming up with plans then. But the basics, just center, pieces out, castling. Now d5 has been played. Now I'm going to go e5. This is all theory. And this is called a classical variation in the Nimso. So the knight comes up to e4, and Pal is playing very good theory. I'm going to go bishop d3. The idea is just that I'm developing, but I'm sort of threatening this knight. And now c5 is the main move. Okay, Pal knows what he's doing. Now there's several ideas. You can either go knight f3, defending this pawn. We can see that there's a lot of pawns that are hanging in the center. And the only reason I'm able to know all of this is because I know this is theory. But I'm going to go knight e2. And the idea of this is that I'm defending this pawn, but I'm also defending my knight on c3. So we can see here that I have everything nice and defended. And now I'm going to castle because actually Pal is threatening a very nasty check on f2. So we're going to castle, keep everything safe. And now he's capturing on d4. I am putting myself to the fullest possible use, which is all I think that any conscious entity can ever hope to do over the board. Okay, I don't know if that was just me, but I didn't understand anything of what he said there. So I'm just gonna take the pawn back. Now, yeah, I think this is fine. Now there may be stuff like knight takes f2 doesn't work because then I can just take it with the queen. Now we're just going to capture this back. The pawn is defending our knight and it's attacking the bishop. So the bishop goes back to a5. Now we're soon entering the middle game. I have many pieces out at this point. I'm still missing getting out my bishop, and I need to decide if I want to get it out through this diagonal or if I want to wait and get it out through this diagonal. Now what I'm seeing is that my bishop and my queen are both pointing towards h7. I have my little battery locked up here. And the only piece that is defending this h7 pawn is my opponent's queen. So can I do something to maybe attack the queen and try to get it out of here? Because I can't. I can go g3. This is also one threatening the queen, putting it in a square where it's harder for it to go back. We can see that with the queen over here, it's much easier for the queen to retreat to a more safe position. But now when the queen is on h5, it's a little bit more stuck over here. So I'm also getting a little bit of space for my king. You know, it's always good to have air for your king. This pawn on e5 is under attack, so before I decide to do anything crazy over here, I'm just simply going to go rook e1 and defend my pawn. Okay, the king goes to h8. This is a move that's very much not necessary, but the king is doing this. So this is a pretty bad move. It's just losing a tempo for absolutely no reason. And now I'm starting to think, okay, can I trap the queen? Can I trap the queen? I mean, we're close. We're pretty close. If I go bishop e2, whenever your king or your opponent's queen is in a little bit of a weird position, it's good to think about those things. So, I mean, I could go bishop here, and then the queen is attacked, but the queen will go up here, and I don't see a continuation. Another thing that I'm seeing in this position is that actually this rook and this bishop are two pieces that my opponent has that are right now undefended. They're unprotected. So that means that if I'm able somehow to threaten both of these pieces at the same time, there's a big chance I'll be able to win one of them. So let's actually go ahead and see if I can do it. I'm going to go bishop a3 because actually I don't like my bishop anywhere here. I'm going to go bishop a3 and I'm going to threaten the rook with the idea that maybe the rook will go to e8. No, the rook is going to g8. All right. So, I mean, now I'm seeing that I wanted to go the rook to go to e8 because then I could go queen a4 and threaten both pieces at the same time. But we can see that all my pieces are out now, whereas Pal's pieces, there's just this bishop and the queen that are out. The other pieces are useless. So we are right now much better in this position. I'm going to try to find some good squares for the knight. Now, a good square for a knight is a square where it has a lot of mobility, but also where it's protected. And now this d6 square is fantastic because it's right now threatening this bishop. It's protected by this pawn, but more importantly right now, actually, because of my opponent putting their king position in a way like this, where there's a rook right next to it and the king cannot go anywhere, there's constantly the idea of smothered checkmating on f7. So this knight over here is a monster. And actually now I can go bishop e2, I can threaten the queen, and the queen cannot Okay, so I just realized that after queen went back to g6, I actually thought this was winning. I thought there was going to be a checkmate, but I realized that after takes and takes, the king is able to go up here, and this would be a fantastic position for me. But maybe it's not an immediate checkmate. So maybe we need to find another way of winning the game. But this would still be really, really, really good for me. So it might still be worth it to go for this. But I'm wondering if there was, prior to this, any better way for me to do it. Maybe I could have gone bishop takes here. Maybe that was the better option. And it's not too late for me to go for that option, actually. So I'm realizing that, you know what? I actually missed this idea. I'm going to go back with the bishop. I want the queen to go back, and then I'm going to take here. But because I'm playing against the Pal, who's a 1200 bot, Pal just decides to blunder the queen. But what I was trying to say here is that sometimes it's okay if you really feel like you've made a mistake to go back, especially because in this position, there was no consequences of it. So I'm going to take the queen. I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do, chess.com user. Yes, I do, pal. Now we're going to take an f7 with check. I know that you are planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen. All right, let's take this. The king goes back, and now I'm going to capture on g6, and now we have 2 checkmates on the board. We can either choose to checkmate on h7 or to smother checkmate, and I think this checkmate is more beautiful, so I'm going for this. Okay, we beat Pal 9000. We're going to go now for the final bot. But he's saying, I'm afraid. My mind is going. I can feel it. My mind is going. There's no question about it. I can feel it. I am afraid. Okay. Very mysterious bot, everybody. Let's go for Skyweb. Primates evolve over millions of years. Okay. Is it going to give us a little bit of random info? Why not? I'm going to start with the move d4. I've come a long way to stop you. Okay. So e6, I'm going to go c4. Let's see what he plays. d5. Okay, so this is becoming now a queen's gambit. Declined because he went e6. So I'm going to go knight c3. And the idea of this is just simply that I'm developing knight f6. And now I can choose... Whoops. There we have the arrows. I don't know how I'm so bad at arrows. Now I can choose what line I want to go for. So I can either choose to take or I can choose to go e3. I think actually I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna start by going knight f3. I'm gonna start by getting all of my pieces out. Now I'm gonna see what he goes for. So bishop e7. Now I'm gonna go e3. I'm simply developing my pawn. I'm gonna go bishop d3, developing the bishop. This is all very standard stuff. And now he's going for c5. So now actually when he went c5, I'm realizing that I probably want to play against an isolated pawn. So I think that I'm gonna capture on c5. Piece destroyed, increasing skill level now. And now actually he's going knight a6 with the idea of capturing on c5 with the knight. But what I'm wondering right now is, I think now, and this is something that's good to think about, whenever, you know, your opponent doesn't capture something back or there's a lot of tension in the center and many pieces can be captured, I would really recommend you to take a moment to think, because in positions like this, there might be tactics. So go ahead and start thinking about all the captures that there are in that position and calculate them. So the main capture right now is for me to go ahead and capture here on d5. So if captures on d5, then he can capture back, but then maybe I can capture this knight. And then I would destroy my opponent's pawn structure. And a bad pawn structure for the opponent will mean that those pawns can become weaker, and in endgames, I might win those pawns. So actually, I think I can take here. If knight takes there, that might be the best move. That might be actually a good move. Then maybe I can go e4. So I think I'm going to take here. Okay, he's capturing back on c5. I think that was the best move. But like I said, I think I can go now e4. And the idea is simply that I'm protecting my extra pawn. I just got an extra pawn. So queen a5, the idea is very simply to threaten to capture here, pinning my knight. And now we need to be careful. Do not go bishop d2 immediately saying, haha, I'm going to be putting my bishop in the same diagonal as the queen. No, because we need to remember that if we do this, we're blocking the queen from defending the bishop. So now I'm going to castle, getting my queen out, getting my king out of the pin. And I'm still a pawn up right now. So I'm really happy. So as we can see, there's a little bit of pressure being put on this d5 pawn. And I cannot capture because then this bishop would be hanging. So we need to come up with a good plan. And I have a few ideas. I have a few ideas. I really wish I could go e5 and d6, but the issue is that after e5, there's knight takes pawn, and I don't like that. So the threat right now is for my opponent to capture this pawn, and I want to find a way to defend it. So let's see if we can do it, guys. Let's see if we can find any way of defending it. Now, I'm actually realizing right now that there's not really an immediate threat of this, because takes, so it'd be bishop here. So actually, probably I can go for something like knight e5. And the idea of this is to go knight c4 and to maybe threaten to go d6. Now, this is a common theme, what I'm about to show you. I don't know if my opponent will fall for it, but now if knight takes and my opponent falls for it, Skyweb falls for the trick. After takes, we can go takes, and after rook takes, there's this bishop check discovered. It's a discovered check. Look at this. Threat identified. Evasive action. Now, in this position, we can either just capture the rook. You see, I was taking away a piece that was blocking from this attack with a check, forcing the king to get here. But we could also try to, kind of make this a little bit fancier. And we could also start with the check. There's nothing wrong with this move, but we could start with this check, because after the check, the king has to go back. We take on f7 with check. And now we can take here, and now we've won a pawn. You see this? So I think this is good. I'm going to go ahead and capture this now. I'm not seeing any checkmate. Our queen is getting attacked, which is totally fine. It's time for us to go queen f3 and once again get our queen back to the attack. That's what we want. So the king is trying to escape. King is trying to miraculously escape, but we're not going to let the king escape. I'm going to go, I really wish I could go bishop here. I think actually what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go bishop e3. We want to develop our bishop. It's the last piece that we haven't developed yet. And now, everybody, we're going to go queen e2. We're not getting the queen to weird places where there's attacks. You see here, we could get attacked. I don't like it. We're going to go queen e2. And now whenever this knight moves, there might be... Okay. So I was just like, why is my opponent giving me a piece? But the idea is that after this, after it takes, there is this. But actually right now, because we're material up, we don't mind exchanging. Like, please, opponent, exchange. Like, exchange everything. Give me everything. I want to have everything. And the reason we want to exchange right now is simply because in this position, we are a piece up. So the less pieces that our opponent has, the less pieces, the less pieces our opponent has, the less pieces they're going to be able to attack us with. And if we have more material from the beginning, then that's just going to mean that at some point we will have material and our opponent will not have any material. But I'm actually seeing a tactic, which is here. Whenever there's moves like this, you need to take a little bit of a think, because the opponent did a tactic and this looks a little bit strange. So here's a perfect time where you want to take a think and say, okay, am I winning anything? And I'm seeing this move, knight c4, which threatens the queen. And if the queen moves, then we're moving this knight away so I can take this knight. By taking it, I'm defending my knight. And if my opponent takes it, then queen check and I'm winning this. So I think that this is actually winning another piece. Now, I don't mind my opponent taking my rook, because then we're taking the queen. So we're going to go queen check. And after the king moves, we can now capture the knight. And I'm going to be doing it in such a way where the queen is attacked. So the queen is trying to do something like this. And now, everybody, now that we're completely winning, make some air for the king. And there's never a checkmate in sight. Just make a little bit of air, and now we're totally fine. So, like I said, it would be great to exchange, but because this king is so exposed, I'm going to try to checkmate my opponent. So I'm going to try to go rook d5. Here we go. We're going to go rook d5. We're threatening the queen, because I want to open up for this diagonal. This is the diagonal I want to get to. And now queen e2 is good. The idea is just simply to get a rook over here. We're just trying right now to checkmate. That's everything we're trying. So I'm going to bring another rook in here. We want to use all of our pieces. There's no point in having some extra pieces if you're not using them. And now, everybody, we're going to go rook over here. The idea of checking. I'm trying to take away a file for the king. So I really wish I could check. I can't check yet. I mean, we could just make it simple and exchange, but I'm gonna go instead queen c2 because I want to try to checkmate. And now, everybody, I think it's the time. I think it's the time we do it. We're gonna go queen h7 check. The king cannot go to a lot of places. It can pretty much only go to h7, and this is now so close, so very close to being completely over. So we're gonna go bishop h6 because we can see that this pawn is pinned right now. And I actually have some ideas of maybe taking, and going rook check. Because I kind of want to deviate this bishop. And this now, everybody, this works. Because after bishop takes g7, I'm sacrificing a bishop. I have rook f5 check. And the king cannot go anywhere. The king can only go over here. Or the queen can exchange itself. But now we're so much material up. The king has to move. And I'm going to go I'm going to go rook d7. And now after, I believe, queen g6, there's no way of defending this. Queen g6, because otherwise there's rook f7. But now we have check. And now we have checkmate. And just like that, we beat Skyweb. I think this was a good game. I hope this was instructive for you. And I hope that you learned something by seeing me beat these 3 different bots. Let me know in the comments down below if you're able to beat this new AI bots. And thank you guys so much for watching the video. I'll see you all in the next one.